Hey there, science fans. Ever wonder why the ocean is salty? Let's dive in. First stop, rainwater. It's not just pure water. Nope, rainwater is slightly acidic. That's because as it falls through the air, it picks up carbon dioxide. This makes the rainwater a bit like a very weak acid. Don't worry, it won't burn you. But here's the thing, that slightly acidic rainwater can dissolve rocks. It's a slow process, but over time, rainwater can break down rocks and release the minerals inside, including salt. This process is called weathering. It's like the rain is giving the rocks a tiny, tiny bath, and some of the rock dissolves into the water. Pretty neat, huh? Now, that slightly salty rainwater doesn't just stay put. Gravity pulls it downhill, forming streams and rivers. As these rivers flow, they pick up even more dissolved salts and minerals from the rocks and soil. Think of it like the river is carrying a little bit of everything it touches along on its journey. These dissolved minerals are invisible to the naked eye, but trust me, they're there, hitching a ride in the water. The rivers are like giant conveyor belts, transporting tiny bits of dissolved rock and minerals. The destination, you guessed it, the ocean. Rivers flow into lakes and eventually into the ocean, and guess what they bring with them? Those dissolved salts and minerals they've been carrying. Over millions of years, rivers have been constantly delivering these dissolved minerals to the ocean. It's a long-distance delivery service on a massive scale. Imagine a bathtub. If you keep adding even a tiny bit of salt every day, eventually that bath water is going to get pretty salty. That's kind of what's happening with the ocean. It's like a giant bathtub that's been collecting these dissolved minerals for a very, very long time. The ocean is huge, right? But even though it's vast, over millions and millions of years, those tiny bits of salt delivered by rivers have really added up. That's why the ocean is salty. It's the result of a very, very long process of rivers delivering minerals to the ocean. Think of it like making soup. You add a pinch of this and a dash of that over time, and eventually you've got a flavorful broth. The ocean is kind of like that, except its broth is, well, salty. But rivers aren't the only chefs adding to this salty soup. There are other ingredients too. Section 5, volcanoes and vents. Surprising sources of salt. Deep down in the ocean, there are volcanoes and hydrothermal vents. Sounds like something out of a science fiction movie, right? Well, these underwater features release dissolved minerals, including salts, directly into the ocean. Volcanoes erupt underwater, spewing out hot, mineral-rich water. And hydrothermal vents are like underwater geysers, releasing heated fluids from the Earth's crust. It's like the Earth itself is adding seasoning to the ocean. These volcanic and hydrothermal activities contribute to the ocean's saltiness. So we've got rivers bringing in salts from the land, and we've got volcanoes and vents adding to the mix from below. The ocean is a busy place. Section 6. A pinch of salt here, a dash there. Why the ocean isn't uniformly salty. Now, you might be thinking, if the ocean is all connected, shouldn't it be the same saltiness everywhere? That's a great question. And the answer is, nope. The ocean's saltiness, which scientists call salinity, varies from place to place. It's like some parts of the ocean have a little extra salt, while others are a bit more diluted. Factors like temperature, rainfall, and evaporation all play a role. For example, in warmer areas where there's a lot of evaporation, the water gets saltier because the water evaporates, but the salt stays behind. It's like leaving a puddle of salt water out in the sun. The water disappears, but the salt remains. Section 7. The salt of the earth, or ocean. What's in a grain? We've been talking a lot about salt, but what exactly is it? Well, the salt in the ocean isn't just the same table salt we use on our food. Seawater contains a mixture of different salts. The most common salt is sodium chloride, which is our table salt, but there's also magnesium, calcium, potassium, and other minerals. It's like a mineral cocktail. This mix of salts gives seawater its unique taste. And it's also essential for marine life. Just like we need salt, so do many ocean creatures. But here's another question. If salt is constantly being added to the ocean, why isn't it getting saltier over time? Section 8. Nature's balancing act, taking salt out of the ocean. The ocean is a master at balancing itself out. Just like there are processes that add salt to the ocean, there are also processes that remove it. One way salt is removed is through the formation of evaporite deposits. Remember those areas where there's a lot of evaporation? Sometimes the water evaporates so much that it leaves behind salt deposits like giant salt flats. Another way salt is removed is through biological processes. Some marine organisms like corals and shellfish use dissolved minerals from the ocean to build their shells and skeletons. It's like they're taking a sip of the ocean and using the minerals to build their homes. Section 9. A salty tale, the ocean's ever-changing recipe. So there you have it. The ocean is salty because of a constant and dynamic process of adding and removing salts. Rivers, volcanoes, hydrothermal vents, evaporation, biological processes. They all play a part in this salty saga. The ocean is always changing, always in motion. And its saltiness is just one of the many things that makes it such a fascinating and complex ecosystem. Remember, science is everywhere, even in a grain of salt. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep on learning. Bye for now.